made some blueberry cobbler.
I feel very rude. I didn't offer you any before you left.
So in my first blog, I said we would associate food with the movie. So Pinocchio was kind of difficult to pick a food for. So we just chose something blueberry to go with the blue fairy because Pinocchio's made of wood and nobody wants to eat crickets. So blueberry, yeah, blue fairy. And even though Geppetto was a toy maker, I associated him with a cobbler for a long time. So blueberry cobbler, yes, yes. He's not a cobbler, but he's not a toy maker. He's like a wood carver. Yeah. So what I remembered, they added more credits at the beginning. The credits were actually quite
really long.
They were long. How long is this?
Jasmine was very excited about Snow White because it was like, here's the 5 people who worked on this, in, out, done.
And then it starts off with, of course, a book opening, and Jiminy Cricket is, there, and he gives himself a brief introduction. He's looking pretty snazzy.
No, he's not.
He looks snazzy in the beginning when he's narrating, but then you go into like the actual movie portion, and then they cut to him, and you're like, Jiminy Cricket was a hobo.
He wasn't like, if you needed hobo wear, if you were gonna dress up as a hobo for like Halloween, this is what you'd wear.
Absolutely.
Like a hat with the top cut off and
holes
all
in your
shoes. But I think Jiminy Cricket's a good place to start. He just, you think of him as the narrator of the piece. You start from his perspective. You kind of see things from his perspective, and he gets made into Pinocchio's honorary conscience when he becomes, like, when he gains sentience. But Jiminy Cricket is the worst conscience ever. Every time Pinocchio's faced with a difficult decision and he makes the wrong choice, Jiminy Cricket's like, "Well, I'm out of here. I'm done.
I'm not doing this.
You just don't listen to me. You should have." And he just rolled out.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Blue Fairy asks you just kind of like look out for his kid. He is extremely naive. He's brand new to the world, and you can't be bothered to, kind of guide his hand a little bit or just watch out for him. Like, good God.
But look,
he didn't ask too much.
Jiminy Cricket gets his clothes, and he's in the mirror. And then, like, Pinocchio comes over. He's like, "Hey, kid, I forgot about you." So, yeah, temptations. It's a good thing. It's a bad thing, but it's a thing that you're not supposed to have. But sometimes you can have it. Got it? And Pinocchio's like, "No." I'm like, I am 27 years old and I didn't get that.
I didn't understand it. Right over my head. Mm-hmm. I mean, he does go to the trouble of singing "Give a Little Whistle." Remember, like, give a little whistle, give a little whistle, and always let your conscience be your guide. And that's sort of the extent of Jiminy Cricket's.
I just realized though, this particular time in Pinocchio, they gave the animals more of a personality than they did in Snow White. So like Figaro, the cat, attitude, but he was like everything that I would say, and my reactions are exactly like his. Like Geppetto's like asking him all these things, and he's all sleepy. He's looking like, what? Like, why are you behind me?
That was so funny. Figaro, in Snow White, you have Dopey as sort of the mute comedy. You pointed that out, but they have a lot of mute characters that they use as comedic relief, and Figaro is just so funny. Oh my gosh,
hilarious.
Every time, like, he's asleep in bed in the scene where Geppetto is wishing for Pinocchio to be a real boy, and Geppetto turns over and he's like, hey. Figaro's like, what?
Yeah, like, what do you want now?
And Geppetto's like, wouldn't it be cool if Pinocchio was a real boy? And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
And then he goes, but Geppetto proceeds to go to sleep, and he's literally like, this is Geppetto, here's the window, and Figaro's all the way over there.
Literally could have just reached over and opened the window. Figaro's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Gets up, open, like, he's a kitten. He's not even a cat. He is adorable. A tiny little kitten struggling to open a window. And he's like, fine, window's open. Oh, I'm going to sleep now. But it's like, oh, look. Sorry, I'm always trying to. It's like, come.
It's like, we're never going to get to sleep.
I just want to sleep. That's literally all I want to do. I am a cat.
And then Pinocchio comes to life, and now we're having a whole nother party. But like Figaro's like, all right, fine, we'll party. But when it was time to get to bed, he had his hat on, and he was ready to go. And I'm like, That would be me. Like,
And
okay,
all night, Pinocchio's like, why? Why?
and he's like,
Why? There goes like,
and he grabs the blankets and rolls over. Like, if you say one more thing, say one more word.
Figaro is sassy.
I
Put out there.
loved him.
Figaro
I
is
loved him.
rude and hilarious. So.
Okay.
Then they have Cleo,
Yeah.
little fresh fish.
She was fresh. She was in love with the cat, which I thought was
She
weird.
was fresh. Yeah,
She kissing people on the lips.
yeah, Pinocchio comes over and says hi to her. She flips up out the bowl and kisses him on the mouth. It's like,
Yeah. She's a little aggressive.
A little bit. A little bit.
Okay.
Kiss the cat on the mouth too.
Well, she didn't. She never kissed Geppetto. Maybe he was too old. Hmm. Okay. So Pinocchio, when the blue fairy is like, you must be. I'm gonna read this from my thing. That's why I'm looking down. If you see me looking down, she says, you must learn the difference between right and wrong. You must be brave, truthful, and unselfish. And I said, this boy is a couple minutes old. And that's like the weight of the world. I know most men who are 35 years old and still have not figured that crap out. So I feel like in real life, Pinocchio will still be wood in my world.
Well, I mean, it's true. Those are high standards to set for a child. If we say he's a child, maybe 5 years old, he can talk, he can walk. Maybe even like 7, old enough to go to maybe first grade, kind of thing. Um, and then to tell that child, you have to be brave, you have to be unselfish, you have to be truthful, you have to know the difference between right and wrong, and that's what makes you a person. That seems like a very
It's a lofty goal.
it's very lofty, and it's not fair to put that
But
on
you
a
know how he
child.
became a conscience? The blue fairy is like talking to him. She's like, "Let your conscience be your guide." And then he's like, "What's a conscience?" And then Jimmy just like butts in. I can tell you. It's like, okay, but you know his definition was like the best definition of a conscience.
I don't remember what it was.
He said it's that still small voice inside that nobody ever listens to.
Right and wrong? But how will I know?
How they know?
Your conscience will tell you. What are conscience? What are conscience?
I'll tell you. A conscience is that still small voice that people won't listen to.
Say that. He did say that. Again, how is that
No.
something you tell a child? Awful.
That nobody ever listens to. And I said, that's probably the most accurate definition of a conscience I've ever heard. No one ever listens to it. And throughout the
But
movie,
that's not true. I mean, it's very tongue in cheek, but again, this is a child. Like, kids don't get sarcasm. Like, you can't just be like, yeah, the conscience is a thing that tells you what's right and wrong, but you just go ahead and ignore it. Because then Pinocchio goes right ahead and ignores
yeah.
every
He's
single
like, well, that's
time.
what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to ignore it. So,
It's
hey.
like, that's what you told me to do.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't say that, but
Yeah.
the easiest way to categorize, to organize Pinocchio, it's probably Act 1, Act 2. Like, there's maybe 4 acts. So Act 2 is when he's alive, he's going to school, he meets some antagonists, we'll say.
Yeah. There's a million of them in Pinocchio, too.
It's not a few, it's a number.
So he meets them, and, he doesn't, do what he's supposed to. But I feel like that one was a coming. I feel like that was Geppetto's fault because you sent a wooden boy whom no one has ever seen at this point, a wooden boy to school with no note, no parental guidance, and you don't even know he has the cricket who overslept. So you were asking for it.
I wasn't even there on day 1.
Mm-mm. So he goes off to become an actor, and
Honest John and Kitty kind of snow him and manipulate him and be like, why would you want to go to school? Why do you be an actor instead? And he goes off to be an actor.
Which he's a hit. I mean, Stromboli, who is Italian. I think we figured out he's Italian. No Strings. That song was actually pretty catchy. I've got no strings to hold me down. But so then he does his little acting. You're like, this song is catchy. You're like, this is great. And then he gets put in the bird cage, and then you see the first sign of like you do something bad, and then there's repercussions, which is the
it's
nose.
It's funny because that is the thing that everybody remembers from Pinocchio. Like he lies and his nose gets longer. That lasts for all of 2 minutes, and never happens again. And Pinocchio's sitting there lying and lying and like, and you know what? Blue Fairy tells him like, "Hey, lying's pretty bad. You
Mhm.
want to be truthful." And Jimmy's like, "Hey, just come clean, just come clean,"
Mhm.
and he never does. The Blue Fairy's like, "Yeah, I forgive you. Keep it moving."
Well, no, he says, "I'm
Just as
sorry.
normal.
I'll
Yeah.
never lie again."
He's sorry because he got, first of all, because his nose is like a yard long, and
Yeah.
he's in a bird cage. That's why he's sorry. He's not sorry because you know he like lying is wrong because he's learned lying is wrong. He's just
But why
you
is
know.
Jiminy never held accountable? I'm like kind of conscious of you. Like the Blue
I
Fairy never
don't
turned to him and
know.
was like, "And where were you?"
It's true.
Like where
You
were
didn't
you?
say anything.
Like you said something after the fact, but you were late on the first day on the job. You want a medal? You were late. And now he's whisked off by actors. Whatever. So,
Ridiculous. So,
um,
but no, back to I Got No Strings. That's probably the one song everyone remembers, aside from When You Wish Upon a Star.
I don't like when
You
you
know,
wish upon a star.
honestly, I do not like that song either. And
I don't like
we
it.
looked back at the lyrics, and the lyrics are like, basically, if you wish something super hard, if you want it with all your might, if you just want it hard enough, you'll get it. And what kind of no?
That is not how this world works.
No, and that's not even the message of the movie. It's not like, hey, Geppetto wished you alive, and now you're alive, and good for
Mm-hmm.
you. No, it's like there are stipulations. If you want to actually be for real alive, you've got to fulfill all these things,
Right.
and it just feels incongruous. So but then you've got I Got No Strings, in which Pinocchio. It's so funny. Just the beginning song, he comes on. It's like I got no strings, and then just falls right on his face, on
But if
his
you think
old
about it,
face.
what if the strings? He says, "I've got no strings to hold me down." But technically, if I were going to consider his strings to be being different between right and wrong, being
Cozy
truthful,
up.
so it's like these are the strings that are holding you down from being a real boy.
Being a
So
real person.
technically, you don't have physical strings, but you got strings. There's strings attached to this deal.
Exactly. It's not like you came into this world no strings attached.
Yeah, like most people.
That's true.
So sucks for you.
It does. It sucks a lot to be Pinocchio. He's just a dumb little wooden boy. He is.
Nose flare.
What? Why nose flare? Why?
Dumb little wooden
He
boy.
is okay. Naive. He's brand new. He's a whole fresh child who's just expected to have learned all the lessons that children would
Lesson
have learned by
over
that
time,
age.
yeah.
It's just like, and it's been the movie takes place maybe over the course of 2 days,
Yeah,
and they're
pretty
like,
much.
"Why haven't you learned to be brave, truthful, unselfish?"
It's like, what have you been doing? What have you been doing? You're lying. It's like, of course I'm gonna lie because I don't want to be in trouble. That's what kids do.
It's what kids do. It's like they see you're mad at them. So
Yeah.
that's as far as he's got me. So,
You know the best part of the movie for me?
mm.
Jiminy Cricket. When he gets whisked away by the actors. And he said, "What do I do? What do I do? I gotta go back and tell his father." No, that'll be snitching.
What'll I do? I'll run and tell his father. No, that'd be snitching. I'll go after him myself.
I said, snitching. It made it. It's in this movie from so long ago. Snitching. It is something that you do not do. You don't
It's
snitch.
naughty.
But it's hilarious. I'm like, snitches get stitches, as we're saying now. Originated by Jiminy Cricket.
I don't know if it's strictly true. Just another
I'm
example
going
of
with it.
Jiminy being sort of a poor guide. He's not. I don't know. He's obviously not there when Pinocchio's rehearsing "I've Got No Strings," but he's there in the audience, like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah, you got an attitude.
yeah. He's like, oh, he's successful now. I better go.
He's like, "Oh, I wish him good."
No, he actually says, "What does an actor need with a conscience anyway?"
Yeah.
Rude.
And then, they get out of that
Shady.
little debacle. The Blue Fairy lets them out of the debacle. They're walking back, and Pinocchio's like, "I'm going straight home. I'm going to school." And he says, "I'd rather be smart than be an actor." Shade.
A lot of jabs at actors
Shade.
for no reason.
Shade.
You know?
That was funny. I was like,
No, doesn't Honest John say something like actors don't need school anyway?
yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
come on.
It's like talking about jab, jab, jab.
Yeah.
I was like, that was pretty funny to me. And then, of course, he never makes it home. They cut to a scene where Honest John is praising what a good job he did.
This is Act 3. This is a whole other antagonist.
Yeah.
We've got Honest John, we've got Kitty, who's also a mute sort of comic relief character.
Kind of like Dopey was in Snow White.
And then this whole, I don't know who the character, what was the character's name?
Yeah, I don't know. He's a big fat guy, big fat British guy. Not saying that all British are fat. I'm just saying that for the purposes of this movie,
He's a big fat.
he's a big fat British guy who had a really creepy face, and he wanted to take the kids to Pleasure Island, and he said, "I want to pick up stupid little boys." And you're like, "Oh man,
Stupid little boys, what play hooky from school?
that's exactly."
That's a good British accent.
I thought that was pretty good. Thank you. Pat on the back. Yeah. So then, like, he's like, "Oh, little boys will play hooky from school," but I'm like, again, it's nighttime, and he's like, "Oh yeah, have them to the docks by midnight." But it's nighttime. Who's skipping school at nighttime? Where are their parents? So you just don't hear the door open. You guys are living in like little hut cottages, and you don't hear your children sneaking out.
So, but Pleasure Island, basically, this is what we think little boys would like. A place where you can get into a fight for no reason.
He's at roughhousing, the roughest, toughest place here. It's like, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go for a good brawl." And he pushes up his cap.
A scrap. So you can go fight. You can go, vandalize art, which was a strange
The Mona
little
Lisa
add-in,
specifically.
and stained glass windows.
It was
A
bananas.
place for billiards and alcohol is served freely to 7-year-olds, and cigars are everywhere. And they say repeatedly, like, this is, if you want to go out there and make a jackass of yourself, like, don't make a jackass of yourself.
They said it. I think I counted 3 times.
Yeah, it was pretty on the nose. It's like, what happens if you make a jackass of yourself?
Yeah.
You get
Pretty much. I mean, but it was just like, so I've come to the conclusion that maybe back in the day, jackass was not considered a bad
I
word.
don't think it was.
Because they used it more than once in a Disney movie, and it wasn't like they whispered it. They were pretty loud and rowdy about it, so.
Yeah, it's not really a thing.
Maybe not. So, I mean, but I know they couldn't do it now.
No, you absolutely couldn't. No. That's a PG rating.
Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah.
I think Pinocchio's rated G.
Yeah, it
actually.
is. It is.
Rated G.
Wait.
It's underneath it. She's going to knock it all down.
But it says yes for general audiences. But yeah, so it's really not an issue.
Apparently not. So, then that's the end of that act because Pinocchio jumps off of a cliff. And
Pinocchio
somehow
does start to turn into a donkey.
Yeah.
He's got the ears, he's got the tail.
And he jumps off a cliff and they're like, "Oh, that stopped it. Thank goodness." So then they get back home and they're banging on the door. "Father, father." Completely and totally unrelated. Geppetto was swallowed by a whale. They get a note from the Blue Fairy from a dove that says, "Oh, you've been swallowed by a whale named Monstro, but he's still alive." And I'm like,
first of all, that makes none of it makes any sense. It's like the Blue Fairy just said, like, "I'm gonna help you this one time."
but that's it.
That's it. But then she comes back as a dove. It's like, BT Dubs, here's where your father is.
And I'm like, why was my dad swallowed?
Why was my dad anywhere near a
whale?
How does that make sense? And why does the whale have a name?
Monstro. Who named the whale? Maybe Moby Dick has a name.
It just seems like a convenient last minute,
Well, yeah, but
this is the thing.
And here's yet another antagonist.
This is our, most climactic antagonist. He's so scary.
He was the one I remember, though. I honestly did not remember Honest John until today. I did not remember the British fat guy until today.
Yeah. I didn't remember Stromboli.
I did remember Stromboli, mainly because he did that butt jiggle.
He does a lot of jiggling and a lot of butts. Again, we'll get to that. The butts.
Yeah.
So, Act 4, Pinocchio finally actually gets a little brave, He actually, I kind of thought,
he's probably like 7 years old at this point to me.
Yeah, but and given his past behavior, it's like, you get a note from Blue Fairy, by the by, your father's been swallowed by a whale. Pinocchio seems like the kind of kid who would be like, "Oh yeah, why don't I just wait here until he gets back?"
Yeah.
From the whale, But he's just like, "Jimmy, let's go. We're out of here."
Yeah, let's go.
We're walking straight into the sea. We're walking into the ocean, and we're walking straight into the ocean. I'm tying a rock to my tail, and I'm just gonna ask everybody where this whale is. Here he goes. He dives right into the whale's mouth, and finds Geppetto right away. Has a plan. How we're gonna get out. We're gonna smoke. We're gonna make a lot of smoke. We're gonna make him sneeze.
Yeah, but then like Monstro gets all scary and mean and
so terrifying.
And he turns the corner at one point like on like a dime. He turns around and keeps coming. I'm like, this is the scariest whale I've ever seen.
Very aggressive. He was really coming after these particular characters. I don't know if he had some sort of vendetta, if Geppetto had done something to him. All we know is that somehow he ended up inside. Pinocchio
monster.
finally comes out. Like he commits some big grand act of bravery, and Geppetto's about to drown. He goes to save him. That's unselfish, really,
And
and
it's
he
brave.
kind of
Brave and
ends up
selfish.
drowning. Sort of,
But he's
as
wood.
as far as a wooden creature can drown.
Man, so
He
he's
drowned.
walking underwater all this time with a rock to his tail,
That
to
doesn't
my
make
father,
sense.
father, and then all of a sudden, because you got smacked up against a little wall, now all of a sudden you're dead. Like, give me a
He's
break.
unconscious. Subdural
No,
hemo.
stop using big words.
Wodatoma.
No. But then the
Um,
father's like, "Oh,
These are
Pinocchio,
not big
lay down.
words.
You're dead. Lay down.
Oh my
You're
God.
dead."
Geppetto seems kind of
And I'm like,
oblivious.
I would have been like, Pinocchio, Pinocchio, you're wood. Wake up. You can't have concussions. You know, you're kind of like the scarecrow. You don't have a brain. Didn't create one for you, so wake up. That's not. So the blue fairy wakes him up, and then at the end, Jiminy Cricket, who is a horrible conscience
But
through the whole
the
thing,
blue fairy didn't just wake him up. She actually gets rid of the ears, get rid of the tail, and turns him into a real fleshy boy.
did
And
not earn.
yeah, he didn't.
I mean,
like-
he earned some of it. He did not. He still does not know the difference between right and wrong.
Right and wrong. Never learn right and
But
wrong.
in all
And never
fairness,
learn to be truthful. Like to be honest.
yeah. So all I have to say is that Pinocchio, I did enjoy it. It was pretty funny. For the beginning part, I noticed a lot of things that I did not notice. I enjoyed it a lot better than Snow White, and I thought it was very well done. I was they still had that same kind of format where everything in the background is masterfully done with the like nice backgrounds and stuff like that, and everything in the foreground just looks like it has a kind of different animation.
Well, but that's how cell animation works.
Right.
But I thought it blended
It-
better.
it did
made
blend
a lot more sense.
Way better. It
Yeah.
wasn't like different scenes and looked like it was from a different movie. It was all one movie where you have the background.
It seemed like this movie.
But yeah, I think this one was definitely a step up from Snow White. You can definitely tell they had learned some things from Snow White and applied them to Pinocchio, and they kept some things, got rid of some things. Like she said, the cell animation was more consistent, way more smooth, but they kept like some of the mute characters, like the cat is almost to me identical to how Dopey acted, kind of like that goofy, over the top, mute character. So they figured that works. People loved him, so let's do that
But I'll say
again.
with Kitty that it worked better because it was never like let's shoehorn in a scene with Kitty.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here's Kitty. I guess he or she, I don't know, was doing a doofy thing.
Yeah, like when he was trying to listen to the conversation of the other one, he put his ear and he's like
to each other,
and he's like he digs in his ear and he cleans it out and he's like, it's
What play you keep from school? And you see,
that's how I was trying to hear
it
this.
cracked me up because I actually tried that as a child. I had somebody whisper in my cousin's ear and I would go like that in her ear and try and listen. It did not work.
I don't think your cousin appreciated that.
She didn't mind.
Oh, okay.
Right, Sam?
Good. I'm glad you tolerated her, Sam. Good job. So ultimately, I'm gonna say, yeah, I had more fun in Pinocchio than I did in Snow White.
Way more laughs. It kept the
And
tension
the
a lot
next
better.
one?
And that we're doing is Fantasia.
Fantasia.
Which, as any of you know who've seen it, is a horse of a different color from Snow White and Pinocchio. So we're definitely going to have an interesting time doing that one, and have not figured out what the heck to make for that one. Just gonna kind of wing it. I might make something completely unrelated.
Fantastic. Fantastic. For Fantasia.
So, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for tuning in this week. Month,
whatever. We haven't quite figured out how to
we haven't figured out a schedule yet, but you know what? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and see you next time.